Destiny, where are we with this race? Because the polling suggests that it's a knife edge, too close to call. But if I'm a Democrat looking at the swing state polling in particular, I'm pretty nervous right now.
I think as an American, I'm pretty nervous. It feels like there is just like a totally different standard that both sides can play by. It's really funny listening to the idea that one statement in a 6-hour entire rally, can't be used to convict Trump or his campaign or the rally. Meanwhile, when it comes to Democrats, you guys will pick out like one line from somebody, and that will be fair to characterize their entire speech. They're absolutely not as bad as each other. Because the difference is that while Trump will have
in terms of picking out lines from lengthy speeches, I think both sides play that game equally
Yeah, but the
hard.
problem is somebody will pick out, say, the Biden line where he talks about MAGA Americans, and then when you read the speech immediately after, he goes, not all Republicans are MAGA Americans. It's a minority of the party. It's just these people that deny, for instance, the election outcome, right? He'll specify, he'll clarify. Whereas for Trump, you can pick out lines, and these lines are not only consistent with everything else that he says, they're consistent with the policy that he advocates for and tried to pass in government. We're living in two completely and totally separate worlds where the standards for both sides are just out of this world.
So why is it that he may win? After everything that happened in the first term, after the way it ended, after the fact he was dead and buried, really, 2 years ago. I mean, I remember Ron DeSantis being way ahead in the polling to be a Republican nominee.
Yeah, before he ever talked to a single voter.
Right. But obviously that... But actually, you could chart Trump's recovery was when the Justice Department started going after him in all sorts of different legal actions. And that is when you can see Trump's popularity starting to go up.
I totally disagree. It started to go up when he started to be more active in campaigning.
He went out to defend himself against all the legal charges.
He hasn't defended himself against any legal charge, to be clear. His defense is, I need criminal immunity. That's his defense. There was nothing was defensible. He didn't deny a single thing. He didn't say anything didn't happen. He said, I need criminal immunity from the things I'm being charged with. I can't possibly commit crimes.
Nobody has more aggressively defended themselves against criminal charges than Trump.
Name one defense. What's the defense for the Mar-a-Lago thing? What's the defense for the conspiracy to overturn the election
thing? You're conflating what I mean by defense with your idea of defense.
My idea of defense is like you say, this is why I didn't commit a crime. Not, I did commit a crime and I need immunity. Like immunity, by definition, legally, is not a defense,
but in relation to the one that he's actually being convicted of, I still think it was an absolute farce and a woeful act of self-harm by the Democrats who fueled this to go after Trump first for a bit of paper shuffling over paying a porn star off for a fling 18 years ago, which he denies ever having.
How many months did we have Hillary Clinton's emails being the front and center story for the news? How much did we hear about Hunter Biden and his cock and his crack addiction or whatever, who's, by the way, still not running for president?
How can Bill Clinton, when he was actually president of the United States, have sex with an intern in the Oval Office and then lie about it to the American people, and it's not him that gets dragged through a criminal court, it's Trump over a fling with a porn star 18 years ago?
Hold on, and I could be wrong because I'm younger, I'm only 35, okay? My understanding is that Bill Clinton was impeached in the House, and that Bill Clinton was...
But he was never criminally charged.
And then because he didn't... I don't think he committed necessarily a crime. I think
he paid off Paula Jones $850,000
hold on, they're not even
for sexual
close.
harassment
Bill Clinton
case.
is disgraced.
They're not even close because he's a Democrat.
No. Bill Clinton is disgraced in the Republican Party, and Donald Trump is the hero of the Republican Party. They're not even remotely similar to how the parties treat them.
Yeah, but Bill Clinton's a Democrat, and
this is one about of the time I've not seen. We're doing Bill Clinton now?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I am. Very much doing Bill Clinton.
Did he overturn an election? Did he send a mob to the Capitol to overturn an election?
I've just told you what he did.
No, but I'm asking you what he did compared to Trump.
Well, he had sex with an intern in the Oval Office and then lied about it to the American people. Do you not think that's important?
Yes, I was against Bill Clinton. You picked the wrong guy. I was never a fan of Bill Clinton. Nice try. Try again. Let's talk about Trump. I tried to overturn an election. He's not been tried for it. Do you think it's right, Piers, as someone who objected to the insurrection, that he's going into election in 8 days? You asked Destiny, why is he still doing so well? Because he was never tried. You want to talk about the DOJ? I think the DOJ is an embarrassment. I wish they'd gone after him. They didn't go after him because he's going into an election having not seen the inside of a courtroom. For Georgia, for DC, we heard him commit a crime on tape, Piers. You heard him. You heard him say to Brad Raffensperger, find me the votes. If you had done that, I'd done that, we'd be in prison right now. We wouldn't be running for re-election. That is the reality. The American people never got to hear in court all of the charges against him. You saw the Jack Smith indictment.
Just so I'm clear on this here, and forget how Trump's guilty of all these crimes, whatever.
When you're
asking why is he getting so much support, your honest theory is that if he had just been prosecuted more, then his people would have turned against him?
It's not monocausal. There's many reasons he's doing well.
Okay, but one of the causes.
Democrats have run a bad campaign. Gaza is a factor, etc., etc.
Sure. Lots of factors.
The media doesn't know how to cover this stuff. But yes, clearly...
You think it would have hurt him with his supporters had he been tried for insurrection? insurrection, inciting an
With his
insurrection.
supporters. I've given up on his supporters. We're talking about the people who actually are persuadable. Yes. When was he most unpopular, Dave, in his entire life? On January 7th, 2021. So, yeah, America's a country of amnesiacs. I can say that as an American and an immigrant.
But Mehdi,
people just memory hole everything Trump did.
Mehdi,
yeah.
for a whole year, they've gone after him legally, and right now Trump is more popular.
And every time it's made him more popular.
Right,
every single
Trump
time.
is more popular in his personal approval rating right now than he's ever been in his entire 8-year political career. How can that be happening if it isn't actually a lot of Americans going, this is absurd?
I mean, if we're going to play the polls game, all the polls show that he's actually, the American people think he should have been prosecuted.
Okay, sir.
Trump supporters recognize that it is not Donald J. Trump a person whom is to be supported. It's what he represents. The Trump train that has been so aggressively moving forward with great intention for this country, we recognize it's what is represented on that. It's all about freedom. It's all about not allowing our country to be fundamentally transformed, as Barack Obama had promised he and his ilk that they would do to America. He said that back in 2008. We recognizing we don't need a fundamental transformation of America. We need a restoration of all that's good about America.
What is the freedom that Donald Trump represents?
And that is what Trump.
Well, that's an interesting question.
Is it the freedom to not have an abortion, to have a police officer looking over you when you go to get tested for pregnancy? Is it the freedom to have a president that lives above criminal prosecution? Is it the freedom to have tariffs related to every single product that we might import into the country? What is the freedom?
We'll take one freedom that he is quite adamant about, because the majority of Americans are adamant about, and that's our Second Amendment rights.
I'm sorry. How much anti-gun legislation or executive action did Biden do? And then compare that to Trump. Biden did nothing. Trump banned bump stocks, so that's an auto loss for you. What's the next?
Well, let's talk about Kamala and her position.
Okay.
Are you saying Kamala or are you saying Kamala?
I say Kamala because I don't see any point in deliberately mispronouncing her name.
Like Trump does every single time he speaks.
Well,
I don't want Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah, Hussein. Yeah.
And they call him the new Hitler. So all's fair in love and war.
Excuse me, but also didn't Trump try to accuse
though.
Obama of not being born in the United States? Wasn't that his entrance into politics? Again, it's not just what he says; it's what he does. Just asking questions. And even when Arpaio came out with the birth certificate, they said no apology for that.
Okay, so you asked about the freedom.
When you're called a Nazi,
they called Obama a communist for 8 years.
Let me finish my point.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, you're obsessed with this one point. It's all you have. It's really sad.
It's quite a big point because you're
It's
comparing.
not because Trump calls
Didn't
Harris a
Trump
fascist.
say immigrants were the poisonous to the blood of the nation or whatever?
If you're comparing Trump to the most evil person in modern history, who murdered 12 million people, who perpetrated a Holocaust of 6 million.
Hitler. The only person I know who's called Trump Hitler is his running mate, J.D. Vance.
And his last general called him a fascist.
Oh yeah, his last general, by the way, his top general said he's a fascist.
These are the people that have worked the closest to him.
His chief of staff says he praised Hitler. Should we go down the list?
Well, they didn't praise Hitler.
Do you know more about Trump? I know you're friends with him.
He said he would like to have had the loyalty of Hitler's generals.
That's not true. He said that's not true, Piers. Let's be some facts.